Welcome to the Coach's Corner, brought to you by Pulaski Electric System. I'm Steve Pierce, your host. Along beside me, Bobcat head football coach David O'Connor. Coach, the Bobcats' second round TSSAA playoffs, a 47-7 win over Notre Dame last week.
A really good win, Steve. I was really excited for our team and our community. We went out and we executed at a pretty high level, and it makes you proud to be a coach for a squad that plays like that.
Yeah. Let's break down the game a little bit. Right off the bat, Coach, Cameron Ordway, he had a really good night, but he sort of set the tone for the Bobcats on the very first offensive play for Notre Dame.
Yes, he did. He steps in front of a quick hitch. You know, Notre Dame had a freshman quarterback who took 3 steps and turned it through the ball. I don't know if he ever looked, and Cameron Ordway stepped right in front of it. You could tell he had been coached up all week by Coach Hopkins, Coach Bedingfield over there on defense, and he steps right in front of it, takes it to the house for a touchdown. A great way to start the game for the Bobcats.
Yeah, you know, you're always looking for the momentum, and whenever you can start out 6-0 with 15 seconds to go, you know, it just started in the ball game. That's about as good as it gets.
It did. You know, I think we played. We gave up some yards defensively, but overall we played defensively and executed on special teams. The defensive part of the special teams really well, and it really was the momentum changer, the difference maker in the entire game. Yeah,
staying on the defense, one thing that you hear people talk about this defense is they just keep fighting and they just keep clawing, and somebody else every play is stepping up to make a play.
Yeah, you know, there's 11 players over there, and they're all dependent on to do their job, and where the ball goes and what happens on the play, somebody is expected to step up, make the play. You know, and like we've said before, our goal is to make them snap it, and eventually we hope they'll make a mistake and we'll stop them.
Coach, talk about, here we are heading to the third round of the TSSAA playoff. On our defense has faced multiple type offenses, from the spread to the wishbone to the wing tee to the I formation. How does that help you here in the playoff, having the defense face so many different offenses?
Well, it's really good, but you know, when you think about it, Steve, most everybody's team has done the same thing. But just speaking for us, it's helped our kids because we hadn't seen anything different in the playoffs than what we've seen all year. You know, defensive line, we've run against the same run schemes. Even though they may run a wishbone on offense, they still have the same blocking schemes up front that maybe an I team would have, or a wing T team may have the same blocking schemes as some of the gun teams we play, or the spread offense teams we play. So we've been real fortunate with that, and our kids have got to where they can just play those different schemes.
You know, there's all sorts of rankings in the state of Tennessee, but one you've got to be proud of is the Bobcat defense is ranked #1 across all classifications in the state of Tennessee as far as points allowed.
You know, and that's something really to be proud of, because you know, as a general rule, if you don't give up any points, you can't lose, and our defense takes a lot of pride in the way they play defense, and the coaching staff and the players. Those guys all take a lot of pride in it, and that is their mentality. You know, we'll win if we don't give up any points.
There you go, Coach. Let's swing it back over to the offensive side of the ball. Al Cobb, just a really great performance the other night, both as far as his playability and in the mental game.
Yes, Al's he's been a leader of our offense all year, and he continues to do a good job. You know, and we have several leaders out there on the field, you know, not just Al, but several other guys that all do great jobs. But Al is the guy that he's our trigger man. He's going to put the ball in the hands of the people that should have it, and they all do a wonderful job with it. I'm really excited about this week. Our goal, for our coaching staff's goal, is to try to eliminate the penalties. We had 2 penalties last week that shut down drives on us, and you know, you've got to eliminate those to win the tough games. As Coach Jennings told our kids on Sunday, you know, the further we move into the playoffs, the deeper you go into the playoffs, the margin for error gets smaller and smaller. And in one of these games, one of those penalties could cost us.
Yeah, good points, Coach. Talk about your offensive line now that you've had time to break down the film.
Well, we had a pretty good game. It was overall probably our best graded game of the year for our entire offensive line. I know Dylan Gibson at right tackle and Blake Sanders at left tackle did wonderful jobs. And inside, Kelly Donnelly weighs 175 and he blocks like he weighs 275. And then both guards, Tyler Gatlin and Mackenzie Majors, they're just good football players.
Yeah, credit to Coach Kirk and the job he's done this year.
Yes, sir. Coach Kirk does a wonderful job with those guys, and it gets them ready every week, and really takes a workmanlike approach to it every day.
Swinging around to special teams, you know, last week you could tell that Notre Dame was a pretty good coach ball club, but I thought the special teams played pretty well for the Bobcats last week.
We played well. I think our punting didn't look as well as it should have, and a lot of that is probably our fault. We hadn't punted very much this year. I think that was our 9th and 10th punts of the year, and it wasn't as good as what I'd hoped it to be. But you know that comes from practice. Now, even though we practice it every day, all during the fall, and all the way up to the playoffs, it still just wasn't where it needed to be the other night.
You know, you brought that up, Coach, about in practice, trying to simulate it in practice. Talk a little bit about having the #1 rated defense in the state versus the offense that we also have is ranked high in the state, going against each other in practice.
Well, it's good because every day we sometimes, you know, on most weeks the toughest defense our offense will play is our defense in practice, and then most weeks the toughest offense our defense will practice or play against all week is our offense during practice.
Get a little heated during practice, Coach.
Sometimes it does, and the great thing is both sides take a lot of pride in what they do, and that makes it an interesting battle every day.
Yeah, you know, Coach Bedingfield said it whenever he was on the show. Coach Osteen said it when he was on the show, and I've heard you mention it numerous times, that the games are won during the week.
That's right. The games are actually won Monday through Thursday. You know, Friday we just come out and put on the show, but everything is put together. It starts on Sunday afternoon, but Monday and Tuesday are huge work days for us. We get a lot of our install periods during those 2 days, and Wednesday's more of a team thing, and Thursday's a walkthrough, and hopefully if everything works out right, we'll be ready to go on Friday.
You know, down here at Sam Davis Stadium, Jack Deere Field, some people call it the Brickyard. It's good to see the black lines back on the field. That means you're deep in November and still playing football.
That's exactly right. You know, I like the green grass out here, but I really like it when the grass turns gold, and Bobcat gold it is, and we put the black lines on there. It's definitely football atmosphere, and definitely playoff atmosphere.
Talk a little bit about the crowd the other night. Boy, we had a really big crowd for the Bobcats.
Yes, we did. Probably our largest home side crowd of the year, and they were really loud, and our kids have talked about that all week. You know, hoping it was going to be the same way this week. Yeah,
up in the press box, Wade Neely had set a glass of bottle of water up on the window, and it was one point there in the game, he pointed it out. That bottle of water was shaking in the press box here. I'm
sure it was. It got extremely loud, even on the sideline. You know, if I didn't have the headphones on, it would have been some tough communication with the rest of the coaches.
And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute, but that's a huge factor, just a huge factor.
Always.
Swinging around this week, the Bobcats head for the 3rd round of the TSSAA playoffs. The East Hamilton Hurricanes out of Chattanooga comes to town. Coach?
Really good football team. They're 11-1. Their only loss was a 6A team that is still in the playoffs, Ooltewah. I guess they're from the same town there. Just a great football team. It's a new school, and their enrollment's up enough that they'll either be 5A or 6A next year. It's already come out, and it's just a big challenge from us. They've got a big football team. Offensive line, they go across the front line. They go 330, 275, 315, 280, and 250. They're tied, and then their tight end is 6'4", 220. So I mean, it's going to be a big challenge for our D-line. Trey Beats, Will Harrison, Marcus Ray, and Darren May just to get in there and hold their ground.
Yeah, East Hamilton putting up impressive numbers running the football, a lot of rushing yards.
Great, they've got a great rushing offense. You know, Steve, the crazy thing is their #1 running back went down in the first round of the playoffs. He was an 1,800-yard rusher. They bring in 2 other guys, and both of them last week ran for over 100 yards.
Yeah, one thing that we need to make sure people understand is Giles County, the Bobcats are in the 4A classification, and you mentioned it earlier, East Hamilton has a lot more students than Giles County does, so that way they have more people to pull from, more players to pull from.
Yeah, they have about 350 more students in their school, but that being said, they can only put 11 out here on the field at one time.
Yeah, and that's true. But the coaching, Tell us about the coaching staff for East Hamilton.
Coach Gatewood and those guys do a marvelous job. You watch them on film, you can tell they're really well coached. And it's going to be an extremely tough battle out here Friday. You know, the more people we can get here at the stadium pulling for us, because you can bet at 11-1 they're going to bring a good crowd from Chattanooga over to the Brickyard. And we need to show them what Middle Tennessee football is all about, what Giles County football is all about.
Let's talk a little bit about the Hurricanes defense, Coach. What do you see?
Again, they're big. Their linebackers do a really good job of attacking downhill. Fundamentally, they're just sound all the way around. And you can tell that by as base as their scheme is, and they're still really good at it.
Let's talk a little bit about special teams. What do you see on their special teams?
I'd say their kickoff man kicks it through the end zone maybe half the time and into the end zone probably 98% of the time. He's got an extremely strong leg, and they try to win the game with special teams and then playing the heck out of some offense and defense.
Coach, every week we've talked about it. When you get into playoffs, not only are you advancing as a team, but you're playing tougher teams from week to week to week. This week we got a team with a lot of confidence coming in, only one loss. You know, it's probably the biggest test of the year for the Bobcats this Friday night.
Yes, it will be. It's going to be a big challenge for us. And like I said, our kids are excited for it. We've been expecting this type of game all year, and now we're going to get an opportunity to play in it. But the best part is it's going to be here on the gold grass.
There you go. 3 playoff games in a row. The starters have got to play a lot of snaps for the starters. How important is that?
That's big time, because it allows us to get in game shape, get prepared to play a 4-quarter football game.
There you go. Big crowd. The Band of Gold be down here this Friday night. Games start at 7 o'clock. It doesn't get any better than down here, does it, Coach?
Not in the Brickyard. It's a wonderful atmosphere for high school football, and it's really a good place to come and watch a football game. I don't think there's a bad seat here. Good point. So this Friday night at 7 o'clock, the East Hamilton Hurricanes come in the 3rd round of the TSSAA playoffs. The Bobcats looking to go 13-0, but they've got a tough opponent coming in. We need all Bobcat fans right down here at the park at 7 o'clock Friday night to cheer the Bobcats on. This has been the Coach's Corner. I'm Steve Pierce, your host. Along beside me, Bobcat head football coach David O'Connor. We'll see you later.